Justice is served. The words of the Indian Army tonight as it launched what it's calling Operation Sindoor. This is one of 9 sites in Pakistan and Pakistan-controlled Kashmir that were hit. Pakistan says a child is among the casualties. India says it's destroyed what it calls militant infrastructure. Ahead of the strikes, Pakistan had vowed to meet fire with fire. As the missiles flew, airline tracking apps showed planes diverting from the area, some flights being sent to Karachi. For the past 2 weeks, tensions have simmered along what is one of the world's most dangerous borders. In India, there has been mounting fury at the murder of 26 of their fellow citizens in a brazen attack by terrorists India insists are backed by neighbouring Pakistan. The gunmen struck a tourist resort high in the mountainous region of Kashmir. The victims targeted, according to survivors, because they were Hindu. Calls for restraint seemed destined to fall on deaf ears.
Now is the time for maximum restraint and stepping back from the brink. That has been my message in my ongoing outreach with both countries. Make no mistake, a military solution is no solution.
The urgent question now is whether this is the beginning of an escalating cycle of violence between 2 nuclear-armed powers. John Ray, News at 10.
Good morning, Owasso. This is Chad with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Well, as you can see, there was a terror attack by some Islamic extremists in India, and they retaliate against Hindus, by the way, and then they retaliate against Pakistan. So why is it always, it seemed to be like, let's not escalate violence when it comes to Islam? Don't know what that's all about, but it's very strange. But as you can see, tensions are high, and Pakistan and India aren't the only place that crazy stuff is going on in right now. They just bombed the Israeli airport, and then Israel responded and completely destroyed Yemen's airport. So there's just a bunch of crazy stuff, and people are already saying World War III is popping off. But remember, in the Middle East, there's always some type of conflict going on. There's always some type of warlord, inter-country conflict, whatever. So war in the Middle East is not exactly unheard of. Even while we're not there, they're always still warring, and there always has to be something going on in the Middle East, I swear. There has to be some sort of crisis or violence going on in the Middle East, no matter what. If it's not Israel, it's India. If it's not Iran and Iraq or whatever, it's always somebody. Or Afghanistan, something's going on. But that's the title for today's show, is India versus Pakistan. And as you could see from that little intro, it seems to be getting a little heated. And we're still dealing with Islamic extremism in all of these nations here. So what in the world is going on in the Islamic world that they constantly have to be attacking their neighbors or whatever else? So let's get into the first article right here, which is India strikes deep inside Pakistan. Pakistan claims 5 Indian jets shot down in major escalation. Islamabad, Pakistan. New Delhi, India. India launched a military strike on targets in Pakistan. Both countries said on Wednesday Pakistan claimed it had shot down 5 Indian Air Force jets in an escalation that pushed the 2 nations into the brink of conflict. India's missile strike early Wednesday morning targeted terrorist infrastructure across 9 sites in Pakistan, densely populated Punjab province, and Pakistan Administrator Pakir, it said. They came in response to a massacre by militants of tourists in Indian-administered Kashmir 2 weeks ago. The New Delhi Delhi, whatever it is, blamed on its neighbor. Pakistan said at least 26 were killed in Wednesday's strike, including women and a 3-year-old girl, and 46 wounded. The country's prime minister, good Lord, Shehbaz Sharif, described the strikes as an act of war, and Islamabad has vowed to retaliate. From early Wednesday morning, two sides have exchanged and shelling across their border, with locals on both sides telling CNN that they were taking shelter. A CNN journalist in Pakistan administered Kashmir heard multiple loud explosions. A shell landed at the house close to the mosque in which 2 people were injured. Shells also hit the other house in the area and fled from our area to a safer place. The Shaskil residents of Muzaffarabad in Pakistan administered Kashmir. A senior Indian defense source said that at least 8 people had been killed on the Indian side of the border. Pakistan military source later said that it shot down 5 Indian Air Force jets and 1 drone in self-defense, claiming 3 Rafale jets, sophisticated multi-role fighters made in France, were among those downed, as well as a MiG-29 and an Su-30 fighter. Photos published by the AFP news agency showed aircraft wreckage lying in the field to the red brick building, but it was not immediately clear from the pictures of the wreckage who the aircraft belonged to. CNN cannot independently verify the claim that has reached out to the Indian government for a response. At a later press conference where Indian officials said that their strikes had targeted training camps belonging to the militant group Lashkar-e-Taiba, said Jahi Mohammed, officials did not address the claim and took no questions from the media. Deep strikes. Indian jets have previously bombed Pakistan territory following militant attacks on its soil, but Wednesday's operation is the deepest India has struck in its neighbors since the Indo-Pakistan War of 1971, the biggest of several wars between the two countries. So, as you can see, wars between these two nations is kind of an ongoing thing where they've been bombing and attacking each other kind of consistently, just not nearly as deep and probably hitting what the Pakistanis would probably consider civilian targets. The situation is now obviously serious and fluid, said Fad Rumayun, assistant professor at political science at Tufts University. Retaliation to India's action will likely now be inevitable. Well, how could they say that when they got attacked by a militant group that was probably funded by Pakistan? So they were retaliating back. India has dubbed its military actions Operation Sindoor, a reference to the red vermilion or the powder many Hindu women wear on their foreheads after marriage. It is a symbolic nod to the April's massacre on the civilians that left several women widowed. The world leaders in the United Nations have expressed concern over the strikes and have urged restraint from both countries. The U.S. Department of State said it was closely monitoring the flare-up. The massacre fallout. Muslim-majority Pakistan and Hindu-majority India have inched closer to open conflict since the gunman massacred 26 people in a popular holiday spot in India-administered Kashmir last month, with India's Hindu nationalist government under intense pressure from its base to respond to the attack. Pakistan was swift to deny any link to the attack, but in the days following, both countries swiftly downgraded ties with each other and have been since engaging in escalating tit-for-tat hostilities. Analysis said that the question is not a question of when, but if India retaliated. India said that the strikes were focused and measured and non-escalatory in measure. No Pakistani military facilities had been targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in selecting the targets and method of execution, and its defense ministry said in a statement. The strikes have put the region on alert, with the commercial airlines keeping almost entirely clear of Pakistan airspace. Fighting tracking website Flight Radar 24 showed the airport in which Srinagar, India-administered Kashmir, biggest city, had been closed to civilian traffic, and several airlines suspended or diverted flights to Pakistan, northwest India. Video obtained by CNN on Wednesday showed the chaotic scene. in a hospital in Pakistan's Punjab province as wounded were rushed for treatment. Man. Historic flashpoint. Muslim-majority Kashmir has been a flashpoint in India-Pakistan relations since both countries gained their independence from Britain in 1947. The two nations that emerged from the bloody patronage of British India both claimed Kashmir in full, and months after becoming independent, fought for their first of 3 wars over their territory. The divided region is now one of the most militarized places in the world. For decades, several domesticated militant groups demanding their independence for Kashmir or for the area to become part of Pakistan have fought Indian security forces with tens of thousands killed. So this is a regular kind of thing between these two nations. So this seems like everybody's just really blowing this way out of proportion. India has long accused Pakistan of harboring these militant groups, a charge Islamabad denies, and had vowed to retaliate against those who deemed responsible. Tensions over Kashmir have also surged in recent years after the Prime Minister Modi's government revoked the region's constitutional autonomy in 2019, bringing it under direct control of the New Delhi. Observers say a response from Pakistan to the strikes will be likely, and concern now turns to how to manage what comes next. Pakistan's response is sure to come. The challenge would be to manage the next level of escalation. This is where crisis diplomacy will matter, said A.J. Barisha, former High Commissioner of the India to Pakistan. The contested region of Kashmir. The Kashmir dispute is a territorial conflict between India and Pakistan, also involving China, and claiming different parts of the region since 1947. So, yeah, this is the area that's contested, if you can kind of see it right here. Yeah. So this has been going on for quite some time now, and it doesn't seem like this is too far out of the wheelhouse for something like this. And again, it seems like every country always has a problem with Islam, and Islam has a problem with every other country and every other religion. They're attacking Hindus. They attack Christians. They attack Jews. They attack atheists. It don't matter who it is. They're going to attack them because they are a very, very aggressive and very conquering religion. They conquer. They expand their influence through the sword, through violence, not like Christianity that spreads it through the word and the Gospels. All right. So as we can see that some crazy stuff happened. I have some videos, footage from the stuff that was happening. So here's kind of some security cam footage if you guys are watching. Let me see here. Do this real quick. There we go. And transition. All right. Well, that's some security footage from outside somebody's house. You can kind of catch the end of the explosion there. Here's the one that we kind of saw in that video. Yeah. That's the one from that video that we saw at the beginning. Absolutely insane. Golly. Okay, yeah. Then that kind of moves us to the next subject. But yeah, like, that is absolutely crazy to see something like that. But this next one that we're moving on to is like, considering that this is also going on, we also have the fact that Israel just got attacked. Their airport was just attacked or bombed. It says this used to be the Hyundai, and this is the retaliation. This is the Hyundai port in Yemen, their largest Red Sea port. It is all in flames after Israel dropped 50 massive bombs on it in response to a missile that they fired at Israel's main airport. Yeah. So, as you can see, it seems like it's just a free-for-all for bombing the Middle East right now. That is insane. Let's see if there's any volume to this. God. Yeah. So crazy. Then let's see. This guy also posted this. OMG, JFK Airport was just hit by a ballistic missile. Wonder what the U.S. will do now. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I read it wrong. It was the Ben Gurion Airport, Israel's main airport. Carry on. Nothing to see here. Only millions of Jews in bomb shelters and shut down an airport. It's time Israel thanked the Trump administration for the attack on the Hutus and took matters into their own hands. This is a massive escalation, and Israel better not remain quiet after this. It's time the Hutus go bye, bruh. Wow. But yeah, so let's check out these videos. Yo! 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 This is their strike. Yo! Yo! And just for everybody knows, like, this is kind of like a regular occurrence thing in Israel. Israel gets like rocket attacked like every day, or at least like every week. So could you imagine being somewhere that got rocket attacked like every day or every other day? And then you tell them, oh, but you're not allowed to attack back. You're not allowed to fight back against your neighbor. It's very, very strange that the people reach this logic, because that's looked as though pushing down. It's like, if your little brother or cousin or whatever is punching you constantly and finally he nails one on you, like hits you in the groin, or he gets a good one on you and hits you in the gut, and you tag him back, like not too bad, but you tag him back, and then he starts to cry, you get in trouble for it. It's like when he's been punching you and everyone's been watching him punch and hit you this entire time. And the UN is basically dad being like, hey, don't you pick on your little brother. He's like, he's been hitting me this whole time. Somebody's got to do something about it if you're not. That's the analogy that I use for this, because that's exactly what's going on. It's like, oh, they're using so much force against Israel, against the Gaza Strip and all those poor Palestinians. Like, yes, but they're asking for it when it comes to them rocket attacking them every day. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, here's good Lord. Just the debris all from the explosion on the road, on the main road leading in and out of the airport, I'm sure. Good Lord, that is crazy. Oh, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is on that. But which kind of brings me to the topic that I want to talk about is, why don't Egypt and other Arab countries are unwilling to take in Palestinian refugees from Gaza? And they start making a lot of excuses here. But why is it that all the Western nations have to do something about it, but the direct neighbors of these people don't have to do anything? Cairo AP, as desperate Palestinians are sealed off in Gaza trying to find refuge under Israel's relentless bombardment in retaliation for Hamas's brutal October 7th attack, some are asking why neighboring Egypt and Jordan don't take them in. The two countries, which flank Israel on opposite sides, share borders with Gaza and occupied West Bank. Respectively, they have replied with staunch refusal. Jordan already has a large Palestinian population. Egypt President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi made his toughest remark yet on Wednesday, saying that the current war was not aimed at the fighting Hamas, which rules the Gaza Strip, but also an attempt to push the civilian inhabitants to migrate to Egypt. So he's saying that Israel is wanting them to migrate to Egypt. So that's why he's not going to take them, because Israel is wanting that to happen. He warned that this could wreck peace in the region. Jordan's King Abdullah II gave similar message a day earlier, saying no refugees in Jordan, no refugees in Egypt. This refusal is rooted in their feel that Israel wants to force a permanent expulsion of the Palestinians into their countries and nullify the Palestinians' demands for statehood. El-Sisi also said that a mass exodus would be bringing militants into Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, from which they might launch attacks on Israel, endangering the two countries' 40-year-old peace treaty. Here is what it looks like motivating Egypt. So they think that these people will come in to their countries and still attack Israel from their countries, and then that would make them have to go to war with Israel. So that's how violent they believe these people are. So that's their reasoning for not taking women and children. Imagine if they just took the women and children. Would they still believe that? So this is why all these Islamic countries, neighboring countries, are all so full of crap when it comes to this. They just don't want to do anything because they're washing their hands of it. They think that the Palestinians are beneath them. They have their own people, and these are just people that they're going to have to feed and take care of because they just prefer Israel to do it. Yeah, but, I mean, they go into a whole bunch of reasons, like the displacement of the major theme of Palestinian history. In 1948, the war around Israel's creation, an estimated 700,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled from what is now Israel. Palestinians refer to the event of Nakba, Arabic for catastrophe. In the 1976 Middle East War, when Israel seized the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, 300,000 more Palestinians fled, mostly to Jordan. The refugees and their descendants, now nearly 6 million, living in camps and communities in the West Bank, Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan. The diaspora spread further, with many refugees building lives in the Gulf, Arab country, or the West. After fighting stopped in 1948, Israel refused to allow refugees to return home since the Israelis had rejected the Palestinian demands for a return of refugees as part of a peace deal, arguing that it would threaten the country's Jewish majority. No guarantee. Egypt fears that history will repeat itself with large refugee population from Gaza will end upstaying for good. No guarantee of return. In part, there is no clear scenario for how this war will end. Israel says it needed to destroy Hamas for its bloody rampage in the southern towns, but it has given no indication of what might happen afterwards and who would govern Gaza. That has raised concerns that it will reoccupy the territory for a period and fueling the conflict. The Israeli military said Palestinians who followed this order to flee northern Gaza to the Strip's southern half would be allowed back to their homes after the war ends. Egypt is not reassured. El-Sisi said that fighting could last for years, and Israel argues that it has sufficiently crushed the militants. He proposed that Israel's house the Palestinians in the Negev desert, which neighbors the Gaza Strip, until it ends the military operations. Yeah, so this is absolutely, ridiculous. They refusing to do this because they think that they'll get dragged into the war. If they're just bringing in women and kids, I fail to see how that would happen. They just don't want to do it because these countries use the Palestinians, these neighboring Islamic countries use the Palestinians as a scapegoat for how bad Israel is. I mean, every time Israel does something, these countries harp on, how dare Israel do this? How dare Israel attack these poor Palestinians? Again, you can't keep attacking and rocket attacking people every day and expect nothing to happen to you. If America was receiving rocket attacks every day from Mexico, we would be retaliating with the full might of the U.S. military. Guaranteed. Yeah, but all this is, and they're worried that they're not going to be able to rule after Hamas. Well, guys have to remember, is the Palestinian people have some culpability in this. It was the same with the Germans after World War II. They had some culpability because the people elected Hitler and the Nazi Party into power. It is the exact same with Palestinians and Hamas. They elected the Hamas regime to take power. Now, maybe some of them didn't intend for Hamas to completely get rid of elections and stuff after that, but guess what? They voted for it. The majority of the population voted for it. So they hold some culpability in this. That's what everybody happens to forget. The German people were not spared punishments of World War II because they were just citizens. They voted for the stuff. So remember these things. If you vote a terrorist organization into power, you don't get to be like, well, what if we don't get to have an election again? Well, if you vote Hamas back into power again, yeah, you're going to be right back where you started. We're back to square one again. But that's really just about all I've got for all this. So we'll just go on to some more memes here. Oh, all right. Yeah, here's this one. Remember, this is Charleo, Belgium, an engineer trying his new machete in the streets, threatening people. Leftists will tell you that this is an opportunity. Yes, there's some cultural enrichment right there. There's a doctor or engineer that's going to really benefit the nation of Belgian nation right there. Good God Almighty. And also said with immigration, like I said, they're completely. This is meanwhile in Germany. Massive amounts of people just swarming the bus. You import the third world to a first world nation, you're going to become a third world nation. Like people waiting in line and putting what they say is like the best way to measure a first world nation is like by how people will wait in lines and will return a shopping cart. That is the one thing that they say you can measure how good a community or a nation is, because no one tells you to put the shopping cart back. A good person in a good society will put the shopping cart back naturally and wait in line. Like, how many times have you seen somebody cut in line and everybody gets pissed at them and checks them for it? Like, there is a reason why we are the way we are, why first world nations are viewed as polite and all this other stuff, because this is what the third world's like. It's a mad scramble for everybody to get on. There's no waiting. There's no politeness. It's like, get me on this bus. I'm getting mine. Everybody else. Oh, yeah. Things are not okay in Germany. At least 28 injured after car drives into Munich. And then it's the Family Guy meme where the police are holding up like the shade colors of people's skin, and it says man if it's white or slightly tan or more whitish pigment, and then once it goes to brownish pigments, it goes a car, which is 100% true. Oh my gosh, that's good. Whoever made this meme is crushing it. Oh God. And then non-Muslim drinks, which is all alcoholic drinks, which are sterilized because there's alcohol in them, and then Muslim drinks, and they're drinking camel urine. This is what you're importing.
And drink it, and he became healed. This brother's sick. But let us sip. The prophet said it. It must be the truth.
That's disgusting. They're drinking camel.
I need some water. What he's gonna do?
This is what we're importing right here. Ugh, that's disgusting. Ugh. Then this one said, Corey sent me this one. It's another good one. It's from They Live. If you've never seen it, it's a pretty good movie. It's a cult classic. Says, nobody elected Elon Musk. Boycott Tesla. Don't buy a swastika car. And then he puts on the glasses and he can actually see what it really means. He goes, I'm retarded. And the TV told me Elon is a Nazi, which is 100% true. Remember, the liberals were telling everyone to buy electric cars to save the environment. And now they've done a complete 180 and told you, hey, only a Nazi will buy a freaking Tesla car right now. It's so stupid. And then this kind of goes into what I was just talking about with the other Israeli countries and all that. It's like 56 Muslim countries, foreign ministers met in Saudi Arabia and voted upon taking Palestinian refugees to resolve the issue. 45 countries politely voted no. 11 countries voted non-politely no effing way. And then as you can see, it's Palestinian refugees. Open the door, brother. And it's like, they're like, nope, not home. And that is the case. Is like, Islamic people do not take in neighboring countries. Like, only Western nations, which are, guess what, predominantly Christian, will do the right thing and take in, like, the needy, the hungry, and the refugees. Well, guess what? We're finally getting to the point where we can't do it anymore, and it's causing a lot of strife on the local populace. So we can only take so many. All these other countries like, nope, taking 0. We're good. Why is it always up to us to do the right thing and never any other country? But I think that's really about all I've got for today. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up here in just a second. I just got to get ready to do the play out video here. There we go. All right. Yep. Oh, and did we freeze? There it goes. Well, all right. That ought to do it. Well, everybody, this is Chad with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that's pretty much all I've got for today. God bless you, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Missile attack on Pakistan. This is literally happening right now. India launches airstrikes deep inside Pakistan in a dramatic escalation of Indo-Pakistani tensions. Multiple explosions were reported in Pakistan-administered regions. The capital of Pakistani-administered Kashmir reported hearing several loud blasts throughout midnight. Pakistan launches second missile as Kashmir. So Pakistan launched a missile at India too. India, oh shit. Oh, so wait, they just did a press release about this too. Our actions have been focused and measured around non-escalatory in nature. No Pakistani military facilities have been targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in selection of targets and method of execution. These steps come in the wake of the barbaric Pahalgam terrorist attack in which 25 Indians and 1 Nepali citizen were murdered. We are living up to the commitment that those responsible for these attacks will be held accountable. Yeah, India and Pakistan has officially begun. To keep in mind, both sides have nukes. Let's see if there's a couple more videos.
देखना वाम कैसे आ रही है वहां से देखना वाम कैसे आ रही है वहां से अरे वीडियो कैच होगी नहीं होगी.
Usually a lot of these videos I'm like, oh okay, it's just gonna be like some far off noise, but like
देखना वाम कैसे आ रही है वहां से
you just see this shit happen. The first clear footage. Is this it? Pakistan says they will respond. Fights have been diverted inside of Pakistan. Pakistan threatens India with nuclear retaliation.
When it comes to India and Pakistan, we do not get involved into this debate of numerical strength. We in Pakistan will use the full spectrum of power, both conventional and nuclear.